Hi, this is Mark from Altcoin Buzz, and today we're going to take another in-depth look at Bitcoin. I'm going to answer some of the questions that were asked about the last chart look that we did on Tuesday. I'm also going to address some of the comments that were made, and we'll take a look at what are the possibilities now after this flash crash that we had in the last couple days. Also, if there's any altcoins that you'd like us to take a look at, we do have somebody new to help me out. Martin is also here, so between the two of us, we can split those coins up and get to more of the altcoins that you want to hear about. But right now, let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. So here we are in the Bitcoin USD one-day chart, and let's just review a little bit what we were talking about on Tuesday. So what we were talking about is this 100-day moving average in the green and wanting to find support there, knowing that we had this huge downward pressure from above against the 200-day moving average, against this descending triangle resistance line that we've been beating our head against. Looking at the Ichimoku cloud where we're trying to trade into the cloud, and we had that 50-day moving average in the red that we were trying to find as support, and then looking at all this volume back here that we had as potential resistance as well. So we knew we had all of that up here working against us, and we were talking about how if we couldn't find support against this previous swing low at about $7,000, that then we'd be looking at the kind of critical exit point out at 67.50. I said that's where I was going to be all the way out, was back here and in this range here. So we tried to find support at that 7,000 area. We got it for like one day. We closed there, and then the next day we just crashed through it. We also crashed through the kind of my critical line right there at the $6,700. So now we've got this range right now that we don't want to break through to the bottom side that we're going to take a look at, and I'll show you how we got to that box that we kind of had before, but now we're back in it. We also have this red box down here that I'll explain, but those were the things that we were talking about on Tuesday. So unfortunately, whether it was just the total resistance or manipulation in the market, which I do believe strongly that it was, I was hoping to talk about on Tuesday how on Monday, I think it was, we had a few hours where the longs decreased by a dramatic amount and the shorts went dramatic as well, and they were in a very close time span within a few days. And looking at that, saying that was unusual, I had asked some other TA people out there that would know more about it, because longs and shorts are something that I've recently just started looking at in my TA, and I couldn't get confirmation on it, so I didn't mention it. But now, kind of seeing what happened, there is no doubt in my mind. Maddie talked about it today, didn't say it as strongly as I will. There was manipulation in the market against this price, this flash crash. But I'm not going to validate that TA is not beneficial if there's manipulation in the market. Manipulation's built into the chart. This just happened faster than it probably was going to. We had all that pressure up here that was serving as resistance. There are still some patterns that show up in the chart, whether it's being manipulated or not. And we'll take a look at some of that. This 63.50 right in here, this bottom of the box, and I'll show you how we got there, has to be held. Or inevitably we're going to hit this base of support that we have down here, and we potentially could crash through. If we could just agree that there is that potential by looking at these yellow trend lines. I mean, this is our upper resistance. We already know that, right? We acknowledge the fact that we've got this basic low trend line, right? We have a lot of confirmations against that. There's no reason why we couldn't dip below it coming into this today. So we need to be conscious of that. We need to be aware of that. And for those that were asking, well, where's that $9,200 prediction that you were talking about? Well, remember, what I had said was, for me to even be looking at that before that could even be the possibility, we had to break out of the $7,400, $7,500 range. We didn't even get into that, let alone break above and find support there. So like I mentioned, that was invalidated that was not valid until we broke above that threshold. So we didn't hold this previous swing low that we had talked about. We held it for a day. We crashed through. Now where are we at? Well, we'll start here and we'll do a quick Fibonacci. This doesn't really line up exactly as we move forward. I just want to illustrate this out. And this is rough, right? It's on the closes. We're not going to go to the wicks. But we came down when this was really validated as our bear trend right here, right? We had a potential where this may come back in January, but really from here down, this is where it was confirmed. We are in a whole different price action now, and we retrace back up to the 50% level. If we go from that next double top down to where we bottomed out, we retrace back up to right around the 382. If we go to the last time we bottomed out from our top, we've retraced back up to the 382. If we go from where our bottom was just recently and up here to the top, we are back at the 382. So logically, in my mind, based upon the recent price action, I would say wherever we bottom out, we should be looking at that 382 as the potential of where we come back to. So if I was going to use the Fibonacci as kind of my trend point to understand where we may retrace back to, where we may get to on the bottom end, this $5,200 looks like it could be realistic, and then have a retest in this area between 62 and 65 as potential resistance. So we want to see if that baseline of support can hold up for us, right? Because it's been defended pretty well and potentially defended by manipulation as well, right? So those are the next things that we have to watch for. So let's look at the VPR. I've got some extra lines in here. I will go through these with you, and this is how we came up with, this has been very reliable for us as far as resistance and potential support areas, right? So if we just go back to January and use price by volume and look at all the price, kind of where the volume and the pricing areas came in at, you can see where, right in here, this is where we had that resistance at that $8,000. This is where we had this current resistance. This is where we were hoping to find some support if we could get it, and we didn't. We broke all the way through, and now we're trying to find support right in here. So this is since January. 75% of the volume came in between this $9,800 and down into this $6,000 range. That's where the heaviest trading was done. So if we use that as our reference right now, the dominant price area is right here at the $6,700, and it's also where the developing point of control is right now. So $6,700 is where we've drawn the top of that box. That's where that came from. Now, if we just use the recent price action since May, since our last kind of downturn, and look at what's been going on, well, we've got a different point of control, and that point of control in the last 3 months has been right around $63.75. A lot of volume and price, or the majority of the volume had been traded in that area. So that's where we've drawn in the bottom of our blue box, because we don't want to go through that. And we could find ourselves really fighting with the top of that box as we get back up there, if we can get back up there. Since January doesn't take into account a whole lot of stuff that happens down in here, what we want to know is if we do break through these areas, right, where does our critical point come to? And really, you're at that $5,700 that you'd want to see. If we broke through here, you can see there's our base, and we break through there. So that next level would be $5,700 that we want to try and hold support at, kind of back at our prior swing lows. So that's basically where we're at. We're trying to find support now at 63.70. And again, we may find a little support there, make a little rise up, and then just see that as a bear flag and come back down. First stop, $61,000 to $6,000. Second stop, probably that $5,700 area. Well, that'll wrap it up. I try and give you both sides of the equation, all the things that you can look at in a very short period of time to try and determine how you want to handle your trades and what critical areas to be looking for. Hopefully you put some stop losses in on Tuesday after we went through the charts, and we're able to save some of your investment. Don't forget to visit us on Altcoin Buzz.io, where our talented writers put up news throughout the day to keep you in touch with what's going on. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button, and also hit the bell so you're alerted when these videos pop up. Until next time, may all your trades be good ones.